So I have the great honor of introducing a good friend of ours, MC Laubscher. Now, MC Laubscher is from South Africa. So is Jimmy. Is Jimmy in the room? Jimmy's not in the room. That's why they both have great accents. And I need you to give a talk to my sons because I'm trying to get them into rugby. This guy came to America probably for many reasons, but he was a professional rugby player 25 years ago, 24 years ago. And that's not why he's here on stage today. He's here on stage today because he's one of the most famous podcasters in the world. That owns a show called Cash Flow Ninja. And to his credit, years ago, when he knew his calling was to educate people on what we also joined him on this strategy of seeing through the code in a way, seeing the way you can choose to live, I would say, like a family office mindset, a mindset that allows you to use the IRS code, strategies that have been around for thousands of years and hundreds of years, so that you can build wealth and then be a great producer for good. Now, part of his strategies, he's one of the best at teaching overfunded life insurance and how to use that to compound your strategies. So much is he wonderful. He's also a great advisor. He's a great learner, student. He and Megan are building a beautiful family, and they have a passion for legacy. But I asked them to be here tonight to speak tonight because he also joined us by making a logo that happens to be on your lanyard. I don't know if you noticed it. It's this great looking logo that I know Gino and Julia love, with that symbol Gino seems to love, I think, too, right? Producer's Wealth. Now, one fun fact. He was one of the early visitors to this property before it looked nice. Tomorrow, we're going to show you what it looked like when he visited. And I think Megan may have visited, but not as early as MC. And I don't know what he was thinking because he thought he could see our vision. I don't know what he was thinking. He must be from South Africa. Because, by the way, you don't have time to note tonight, but I have spent wonderful, wonderful hours of conversations learning from him about living in multiple cultures and what it can help you do to see through the code. You know, when all kinds of things I could share with you, but he's been through countries, living in different cultures where he's seen societies change. And he's like, these are some of the hallmarks of changing societies. Lots of wonderful conversations with MC that have changed our life. One of the biggest things we've done together, though, is Melanie and I became committed to Producer's Wealth. We joined him and we work with him as our advisor. So this is before, this has been going on for 5-6 years. We've been working with MC to design our own basic strategy of legacy. And he's introduced us to wonderful partners. And he just epitomizes what accountable equity is all about. Accountable equity is the people around the table are probably some of the best returns on investment you're going to get. On top of owning beautiful assets and earning yield, you're going to build these great relationships and have your mind opened by just good conversations from people who have seen new things you have not yet seen. So MC's going to come up tonight. I will say this, not only do we love him, we work with him, and I think he's done a massive, important gift to all of us who are investors here. You see, I've been an investor since 2018, which means my family's assets are in these projects. MC worked with Melanie and I to design a quite substantial key person insurance policy, so a life insurance policy. And we designed it, took about a year, so that our investors would be safeguarded from the responsibility of Melanie and I, right? Melanie and I, if we were to be tragically removed from life, there is a great policy in place designed by Producer's Wealth to sustain this project. Now, why is that important to me? Because for us, everything in accountable equity, we've been looking at it as a legacy and a generational strategy. We think of you as people that we want to be with in community for a long time. Even if we return the money quickly or if the money yields a lot of returns, that's great. We're here to invest in trying to break bread with you, and build a community. This is a nice sampling. Matt Donnelly always says that, we have not even met all face-to-face, all 420, 30, whatever number of families we're up to. We haven't had a chance to meet everyone yet, but at least tonight we're meeting maybe 30 families, 40 families. Where am I going with all this? Producer's Wealth. MC Laubscher has made a massive impact on Melanie and I want you to meet him. So that is probably the most unimpressive introduction, but the guy himself is very impressive. So let's cue the music. Paul, let's have MC Laubscher come on up.
Well, what a magical place this is this time of year. That tree lighting was just something special. So it was also very special to enjoy it with a lot of familiar faces that I've gotten to know and over the couple of years, and also my family and my Producers Wealth team that's also here, Carl and Amber and little Colton, and then my wife Megan and my kids Christian and Josephine. So this place is very, very special. I will say it was a dark winter's day that I drove down my first time here, and I met Josh and Melanie, and it looked like, I believe, Josh, you referred to it as the Beirut stage, right? That's right, 1980s Beirut, and boy, did it look like Beirut. But I could see the vision, the passion, and just the drive that there was. And one of the things that just stuck with me is this long-term vision of making and building this property to be a legacy for generations to come. And that's something that's very near and dear to me personally. So if I've not met you, I look forward to. My name is MC Laubscher. I'm the founder of Producers Wealth. Our mission is to elevate the financial well-being of business owners and their families. So it's a big task, but we take it on. When we do that, it allows them to live their legacy today and then also leave a future legacy. Now, if we look at the world today, that's quite a challenge, right? It's an interesting environment that we're living in. And your environment as an investor is very, very important. It makes me think of the story of the fish tank, and there was these two old fish, and they were in the fish tank, and these two little young fish were swimming past the old fish. And the two older fish looked at the two young fish and said, "How's the water?" And the two young fish look at each other and they're like, "What's water?" Not aware of their environment that they're in. And if we look at our environment today, I mean, look at the amount of information that's out there. So many distractions, right? We're always looking for the next dopamine hit, the next follow, the next like, the next share. And this, of course, is brought about the speed of which we want things to happen at, the speed of the likes, the follows, the shares. I need it now. We're kind of like in an instant world, right? Think of all the instant things that we have. I did this, by the way, earlier when I was thinking of what I was going to share. And I just, by the way, and this is part of the problem, but I went to ChatGPT and I said, instant stuff. What do we have in this world? Coffee, noodles, oats, instant downloads. You'll be surprised to know that I have a physical book out. Everybody wants the instant download. Why? Because they want it now, not tomorrow, not 5 minutes later. They want it right away. And all these things are just going to get speed up by AI significantly. I mean, it's going to be, it's just going to, our attention spans, by the way, collectively, we have collectively the attention span of a gnat, right? So our attention spans are down. So this is the environment that we all live in as business owners and investors. Everything is instant. Everything is fast food. I mean, we built out an entire industry just on fast food. Think how things are marketed to us. Weight loss. Who wants to eat well and exercise and get enough sleep and drink enough water and have an incredible, amazing, healthy life? Now I'll just take a pill and lose 100 pounds in a month. That's the mindset, right? And that's how we're being marketed to. We also live in a world where people have anxiety when their Amazon boxes don't show up the next day after they ordered it. And by the way, they get to track it online as the box is being delivered to them. So let's talk about wealth and let's talk about investing in money. But I wanted to set the table about our environment because I always think, when I look at information and presentation, we often just forget about that. And it's important to recognize that. So what does this have to do anything with investing and money? Well, it's the exact same thing in the investment world that we're seeing right now. If you're observing what's going on in the investment world, it's the exact same thing. Everybody wants to get rich tomorrow, right? Not in 10 years or 15 or 20 or 30. Tomorrow, I want to get rich. Think about it. You can't make this up. This is we have such to be alive today is such a gift. This stuff writes themselves. People are making millions of dollars on doggy meme coins and cryptocurrency. You can't make this stuff up. And everybody wants the next meme coin and the next doggy coin because they want to be a crypto millionaire tomorrow, not 5 years from now or 10 years. Tomorrow. They want it tomorrow so that they can live the life of the people that they follow on social media, right? That they give follows and likes to. The other thing that's very important is also that what you're seeing a lot in business, because of this environment, because of this psychology that is around us that drives everything, we see a lot of businesses so focused on short-term profits. And if you run a business, you understand that if you're trying to squeeze short-term profits as much as quick as possible out of that business, there's a future cost. There's a future cost. You can kick the can down the road, but the chickens are going to come home to roost at some stage. And you see it in family businesses quite a bit too, right? So I was recently exposed to an entire world of exit planning. So we at Producers Wealth, we became certified exit planning advisors. So you can take business owners through an exit and sell their business and get all your financials in line and all of your strategies and de-risk the business so it's attractive on the outside, but it's also ready to be sold. And it's interesting. Some of the statistics came up and this is in family businesses, by the way. And also in the marketplace, you see a lot of people saying, well, the best opportunity exists ever to buy a business right now. That's right. But did you know that 70% of family businesses that are listed sold never sell? Ever. They're not sellable. Did you also know that in a strategy, and this ties into the short-term kind of thinking, when you transfer a business from the first generation to the second generation, only 30% of small businesses, this is family businesses, go from Gen 1 to Gen 2. How many do you think go from Gen 2 to Gen 3? It's 12%. 12%. So think about it. Here you had a family starting a business. The business got off the ground. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into this. Dark hours, that nobody knows about, got the business up and running. And eventually, only 3 out of 10 people were able to take that business that they built and put their blood, sweat, and tears into it and pass it on to their children. So it becomes interesting. So being the contrarian that I am, when you're in an environment of get rich now and get rich quick and so forth, I try to lean into the opposite things, and that's why I called my book Get Wealthy for Sure. And this is a very long-term kind of view and approach, a very, very different approach. So what's Get Wealthy for Sure? So instead of trying to find the next meme coin, doggy coin, I see influencers have coins right now too. There was an influencer that launched a coin, what is it, 500 million market cap, and then there was a rug pull down to 50. Instead of all that nonsense, what if we invested in ourselves, our families, invested in our businesses, and then partner with other great business owners that are doing incredible things like where we are right now, building and expanding Renault, Josh and Melanie and the team, what if we build a family bank and a banking system like the Rockefellers, the Disney, Crocs, Ray Kroc from McDonald's, a family bank that can finance all of this for the investment in every single individual in your family, your business, and to partner with other people that are special and unique and doing amazing things. It's kind of a little bit of a different take, right? And that's how you get to live and leave a legacy. It's a view of what are we good, if you think about it, and this is a little bit of a teaser in here, but if you look at family offices and how they plan, I mean, you're looking at 3, 4, 5 generations, 100 years. One of the questions, I was in a conversation with folks that they have a family office set up, was if you need to invest into something for the next 100 years, what would you invest in right now? It's a pretty interesting question. I mean, it was kind of a mic drop moment because it challenges your thinking. First, you're like, well, wait a second, 100 years. And then you're like, oh, wait, they're serious. Because they're thinking 3, 4 generations down the line. They're not thinking about a doggy coin that's going up 5,000% over the weekend, right? It's a little bit of a different ball game. I had the great privilege of interviewing Jim Rogers and had a great conversation with him. And he was also saying, MC, the question that we ask ourselves too, and that I ask myself now, is if I can only make 10 investments in my life, what would they be? It changes the mindset completely, right? It changes from, I want it now, instant download, clicks, overnight, to, wow, let's live this legacy. Let's live it. Let's breathe it. Let's share it while we're here. And then let's leave it when we finally depart. So that's what Get Wealthy for sure is. That's the strategy. So I always say I don't believe in get rich quick, but get wealthy for sure. So a little bit of a spoiler and a teaser for tomorrow. So I'll finish on this about legacy. And when I spoke to Josh, and we've had incredible conversations about legacy, and Josh and Melanie, I'm just very much drawn to their vision and what they've created here and what they continue to create and how they operate in their family. Blessed that they're in our family's life. But so tomorrow, spoiler alert about legacy, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what does it mean to actually build this legacy with your family. How do you do that? How do they do that in family offices? So this reminds me, and I'll finish with the story of who here is not familiar with the Vanderbilt and the Rockefeller story, the tale of two families. Perfect. I was going to do the Tony Robbins NLP and say, can I get a high? But I'm going to skip that one. So if you've not heard it, here's the elevator story. So both families are well known. So the Vanderbilts, Cornelius Vanderbilt, the Commodore, obviously one of the richest men in America, built an absolute fortune in the railroad and several different industries. And on the other side, you had the oil men from Ohio, the Rockefellers. And again, same thing. They were some of the richest men in America. So both of these families amassed a fortune in different industries. They were very, very driven, but they had completely different outcomes, right? If you look at where the Vanderbilts are today, I mean, there's still some remnants of it, right? Vanderbilt University, the Biltmore, Gloria Vanderbilt is the matriarch of the family. Anderson Cooper is one of the most well-known relatives. Not a lot of millionaires in that family still, and a lot of them actually have died broke. On the other side, you've got the Rockefellers, which with every single generation, contractually, the net worth grows by an enormous amount, billions, every single generation, because they had a plan for it. So apparently, allegedly, some people say, I've heard that the story goes on just before Cornelius Vanderbilt passed. On his deathbed, his son was next to him. And his son, by the way, fun fact, did the 10x basically on that empire before it started falling apart. But Cornelius Vanderbilt was on his deathbed, and apparently, allegedly, some might say, some people say, he said to his son, keep the money together. Keep the money together. So one morning I was taking a shower. This is when I have some of my best thoughts. But I thought to myself, he said to his son, keep the money together. Would that family have had a different outcome if he said to his son, keep the family together? Changes a little bit of the perspective, right? Because if he kept the family together, the family now you have relationship capital that we talk about all the time, and they grow and develop each other, investing in each other, and the infrastructure of the assets and so forth, that stuff will follow. But the focus was on the money, and it wasn't necessarily just on the family. So I'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. How do you do that? How do you keep the family together in a family office type of structure? How do you develop each and every individual so that they can fulfill their potential and the family can fulfill their potential? So appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for having me.